Hey everyone, I'm Amy Weber and welcome to my podcast, Amy Weber Unleashed. Today we are so privileged to have Jeannie Sanders in the house.
Thanks, Amy.
How are you?
I'm awesome. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I love a woman in yellow. It always actually screams out positivity. I know we're going to talk a lot about that today.
Awesome. Well, that's what they tell me. Yellow is positivity. It's happy, joyous, fun.
It is. Yeah, it brightens everything.
I think so.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my husband was flipping houses and he had this color that he thought was good for the wall, and it was called Navajo white. And unfortunately for that, it got a little bit yellow, so that didn't necessarily work out.
Didn't work out well?
No, it's just really,
Like when the light came on, or was it just
yeah,
all the time?
super yellow. He thought it was white, and we would have this argument. I'm like, that's actually not white. He goes, it's a form of white. I go, it's not a form of white.
Note to self, Navajo
white.
Navajo white is yellow.
Swiss coffee is a much nicer color. So on to the positivity. It's funny because I fly out here to Vegas to do the podcast, and people always ask, like, what are you reading? What's in your purse? And I have two books right now, and one is The Secret and the other one is A Life of Gratitude. Okay. And so I know we're going to have a lot to discuss today, because for me, I feel like it's so important, how you take the world in, how you take other people in, and it can affect you tremendously, and you have to make a choice.
You do.
It is a choice in life. I know we all have had sort of our shit that we've been through, but you still have a choice whether you're going to let that knock you down forever or whether you're going to let that make you grow as a human being. And so I kind of want to hear, how you got positivity in your life. Have you always been like this, and how this came about for you?
Yeah, it's a great question and a deep question. And I think it would be naive to say I always, lived with I always lived with gratitude, but positivity, right? Because I think as you get older, you start defining it, you understand it. But I think if you asked people in my life, my parents, my friends, my family, my network, they would say she's always lived with that positive perspective.
Oh, nice.
Right. And that is true. So I've always tried to be the person that doesn't say, I lost a family member, now I'm going to spend time with my family. I lost movement in my leg, and so now I'm going to be more active. I've always tried not to do that, so that I'm always trying to live in the moment and with positivity and also gratitude.
So it doesn't take these giant aha moments for you to make you realize that you should every day kind of practice that.
I think so, absolutely. And it hasn't taken that. And I think also my life, which is kind of funny, I don't think I've had, and probably if you've asked other people, I've had those moments that have knocked me down, but my perspective tells me I haven't had those big tragic moments, but I have lots of little crazy random things that's always happened to me my whole life.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's a combo. I had great parents growing up. I had a great network, and when I started working in corporate America, great mentors, worked with great people. So, my parents taught me at a very early age. There was like a really fine balance with my mom and my dad. My dad was the fun, gregarious, you can do anything you want and it's fine, no problem. My mom set very high expectations for us, but it was all built on love. And so I think that good foundation of faith and family, and that really helped.
It's
I think
kind of amazing.
with my foundation.
I sort of had the opposite. I had a very tumultuous childhood, a very abusive childhood, a very neglectful childhood. So I had really no one lifting me up or saying, but I still managed to get to the place. So I always wonder, like, how is it? Is it taught? Is it just ingrained in you? Is it in your DNA? Someone that can basically turn lemons into lemonade. And so it's interesting to hear that you did have wonderful parents that were obviously supportive of you and, lighthearted and really didn't take life for granted like a lot of people did. And again, I had the opposite, but managed to find my way. And I think, but for me, it was really through some of these really tough kind of experiences, that dealing with cancer, a lot of things that I went through that I realized, listen, this is it. We've got this life as far as we know, and it's up to us to make it what we want.
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing with our bodies, right? It's like you kind of got this one vessel. So what are you putting into it? How are you treating it? And I was even reading this morning like how to give up sugar, because I eat pretty well, but I know sugar is literally like the devil.
It is.
It ages you. It's just really bad. I mean, I know why we eat it because it raises, right, our levels and makes us feel really good. But I know in the end of the day, it's really detrimental to our cells. And
It is. It is. And I know we spoke briefly before we started about, even alcohol, and alcohol has so much sugar in it.
Yes.
That's a big one. So wine and right?
so you don't drink usually, or do you have something that's just very low?
No, I mean, I'm trying not to drink wine because of the sugar. So, I just had a baby last July and I didn't obviously drink at all.
Right.
And so I was on a pretty good kick. I mean, I had the baby and I lost 43 pounds in 2 weeks.
Wow.
It was crazy.
After you had the baby?
After I had the baby.
Oh my goodness.
I had so much water weight. So, but that with no drinking for over 9 months it
Right.
was. So, I really think I want to get back to the no drinking.
Oh my
But
goodness.
back to the positivity. I admire people because I don't really have that story. And so when you say, is it ingrained in you? Is it in your DNA? Interesting, because we both had different backgrounds, but you're able to come and turn this around and now speak so beautifully about positivity and read Gratitude and The Secret. So it is what do you think? Do you think it's in DNA?
I think the big part of this podcast was really trying to figuring out why is one person successful and another one isn't, given the same opportunities. What is it? I know a lot of it is definitely mindset.
It is.
And so I'm always like attitude of gratitude. That's one of my biggest hashtags that I use on social media is an attitude of gratitude, because no matter what, I have to find something to be thankful for.
Right.
Because I just know, again, and I am at that point where it is hard sometimes, to practice what I preach, because there'll be times when I'm thinking, okay, I'm manifesting and I'm really seeing exactly what I want. I'm feeling it as if it's really happening, because I know that we're all made of energy, and the brain doesn't understand whether things are happening now or whether they're going to happen in the future. So if you act as if they're happening now, you somehow will find a way to make these things happen. And so, but just every now and then, I'll have like a few little setbacks, and then that faith, you have to have that kind of unwavering faith.
You do.
That everything you're doing is right, and everything that you're doing is going to produce sort of the fruitful life that, you have for you and your family and your children. And every now and then just I'm getting punched in the face right and left, and I'm like, there goes the faith, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I got to start from scratch, and then I start again. I'm like, first foot on the floor in the morning, and the second foot is you. And that's really,
Absolutely.
what I'm trying to do.
I love it.
So tell me, how are you using your positivity? Do you have a group, or do you have, something that you're inspiring others? I'm really trying to inspire others through my podcast, because look, if you can kind of go through the life I've been through and some of the circumstances that I think would bury a lot of people, I didn't, I look statistically and I think, okay, I probably should have been a drug addict or possibly a prostitute, right? Looking for that attention. There's so many things that I maybe should have gone down, but I didn't go down that road. I went down the road of perfection. That in itself is not necessarily a good thing, because you have to give yourself a little bit of grace, especially when you have kids, because there is no perfect in kids. I mean, I think my kids are perfect, but I mean, gosh, the house is not going to be perfectly clean, and
Dinners aren't going to be perfect.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think you're not always going to have every single ingredient. All of a sudden my daughter will pop up with, I want to make muffins. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? I may not have the exact ingredients, and then you've got that whole mom guilt. So I'm just curious how you help, or possibly helping others just through, your walk of life.
Sure. So one thing that you just said, I want to touch on. A term I use, or a saying, is think excellence, not perfection. And so throughout my career, now I own my own business, but before that, I worked for Siemens for 21 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was in corporate America, and I had a phenomenal career. I loved it. And so I'm taking pieces of my successes, but then also pitfalls and things to, help other people with along the way, or even just in transformations and transitions, basically, like transitioning from corporate America to owning your own business. Or I got married at 40, I had my first baby at 43. So talking through those types of things, but I had a lot of really awesome leadership opportunities, and one was Women Unlimited, and that was one of the 10 principles we learned was think excellence, not perfection. When moms, wives,
that.
business owners,
Yeah.
excellence is everything is perfect to a T. Perfection is I sit down with my family for dinner.
Right.
Excellence is the house is, or perfection is excellence is your home with your family. Perfection is the house looks exactly perfect all the time. So when I started the business, it's funny because I always joked it's not called perfection of positivity. It's practice, right? We're practicing medicine.
Right.
We're practicing playing the piano. We're practicing volleyball. So we're practicing positivity. So I do think we're always practicing it, right? No one's
Right.
perfect
And
at
we
it.
never get there. I mean, there
No.
is no end to
Right,
this. I would
right.
hope not. There's no ceiling to how positive you can be or how impactful you can be
Right.
for other people.
Right. And I think the word positive sometimes gets lost in translation with like fluff and fluffy life coach.
I think everything's fine. no
Right.
big deal.
And
Yeah.
it's not.
Right.
So I often say it's not a naive positivity. It's a realistic positivity. And it's, I think, strong leaders, coaches, executives, people who do great things live with gratitude. Right. And they have the positivity. So I hope that I'm doing this every day, in my personal life, with my family, with my friends. I try to live outwardly so that I'm showing, when I'm talking, when I'm driving, when I'm doing all these things. Of course, no one's perfect. We all have road rage.
Yes.
But, that I'm doing that in a business sense. What I've put together is a program called GRIT, and it's called Go Reinvigorate Intrinsic Talents. And it's a mouthful. So I always say it's a mouthful, but it's even better when you're doing it.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because I originally wanted it to be girls reinvigorating intrinsic talents. It was going to be focused on just women. And I did a program, had my husband with me, and a lot of feedback. Folks came back and said, you guys really should offer this to men and women. And as it turned out, it started to be more of a corporate program.
Wow.
So I'm in this space now where, it's individuals and teams and small companies and large companies. But the whole idea is I genuinely believe in the goodness of people. So I don't think that if there's someone out there that has done bad things, I don't think they're a bad person. I feel like it's through circumstance or situation that has happened. Right.
No, absolutely. It's funny because when my children I live in Los Angeles, my children were probably 4 or 5 years old, and we were living in a very sort of wealthy bubble. And I just needed them. I was raised on a small farm in Illinois, and I just needed them to understand that this is not exactly what life is. There's so much more, and there's a lot of things and people that are going through their own struggles. And so I took them to this place. And people are like, you're so inappropriate. I'm like, I need them to see this. So there's a place downtown that is called, oh my gosh, it's a place that makes bread and baked goods, and it gives gang members a second chance.
Oh, wow.
And so I want to say it's Proud Boys. It's not the Proud Boys, but it's something similar to that. And so what they do is they have tattoo removal for free.
Oh, wow.
And so, these are people that they want a second chance. They understand I kind of made some bad decisions and some choices. I'm living with the consequences of that, but I want to turn over a new leaf, and I wanted my kids to hear from these people that said, yes, I started hanging around maybe with some influential people, not in a good way, and I did some really bad things. But now that I realize that's not who I was, and I want the chance to turn this around and do good things. Oh, it's called Homeboy Industries.
Oh,
That's
wow.
what it's called, Homeboy Industries. So yeah, my daughter had like a little homegirl shirt.
Oh, cute.
Sweatshirt. But people thought, why would you, oh my gosh, like the people in the, why would you take your children? I thought, they need to be exposed.
Absolutely.
Because this is the world that we live in, because we're a melting pot of people, and that's what makes us so interesting. And,
Absolutely.
I think for them, they can learn a huge lesson. It may be better for them to learn through someone else's mistakes.
So they don't have to.
So they don't have to make
Right.
their own. Yes, they are going to trip, right? Life is not perfect, and I cannot protect them from the world. But, again, I love the fact that people are starting maybe to understand that we all are sort of made of energy, right? And I was trying to say this to my kids the other day, they're like, what do you mean, Mom? I'm like, we studied energy because I homeschool now, and you were explaining about, how energy can affect other energy. And I go, haven't you ever been really happy And then you walk into a room and someone is having just this, really shit day. And suddenly your
depleted.
happiness is gone and you
Right.
don't understand. You didn't make it go away. You're suddenly not unhappy, but it's like it got sucked out of you. That's that transference of energy. So, I mean, for me, even I think no matter how bad of a day I'm having, it's like I have to find that place because I'm going to come into contact with other people. And God forbid,
You don't want to be that person.
I don't want to
Right.
be.
You want to uplift.
I do.
Right. And that's another message for your kids seeing those individuals. It's the people you're around it's hugely important.
Yes.
Right. For our own energy, but our ambitions, our goals,
Yes.
I'm saying the same thing to my kids. There's a reason why they say birds of a feather flock together. It's not being judgy. It's just, I want to be around those people who love, who support, who encourage,
Yes.
who live life, who love living life.
Right.
Right. And keep going. So I think it's great. I think it's
Yeah.
awesome you take your kids to
Thank
see
you.
that.
No, it is important. I mean, look, they say that right now, the 5 songs you're listening to and the 5 people that you spend the most time with, that is what is going to affect the next 5 years of your life. And so, it's not about, again, like you said, kicking people to the curb, but maybe there are people in your life that just their eyes haven't been open
Sure.
to the possibilities that you have the power to change your life.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
it's decisions, right?
100%.
And choices
Yes.
and stuff that we do.
My mother told me at a very young age, do as much as you can for yourself to create options so you're in the power of choosing, right? So
Right.
she would say, for example, in school, get the best grades you possibly can so when you graduate, you are, middle school or high school, so you can choose from the college you'd like to attend,
Right.
Instead of having one option, you have 10 or 15, and so you're in the choice, and then do well in college, so you choose your career, and that's been something I've held
That's
to me as well because
amazing.
it's choices.
That's really good. That's really good, like, advice to give someone.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, so keep doing the best you can. And, also my mom was a very strong female and wanted me to, she used to dance around the house and say, oh, you don't need a man, grill out.
Can she adopt me?
She's awesome. She's
Oh my
awesome.
gosh.
She's still, I still call her, what's this vocab word? I mean,
That's
she's,
so incredible. I
Yeah.
try so hard to literally be, to mirror, the way that other people should be treated, not just like do as I say and not as I do. It's like do as I do.
Right.
And I try really hard with my kids, same thing. Like every
Good.
day when they were going to school, it'd be like, look, you can do anything you want.
Absolutely.
I will always have your back. No matter, don't think it's crazy. You just have to come to me and let me know if you've got some dream or some idea, if you want to start a business, whatever it is, I'll make
Yeah.
sure that I can help, get those resources
I
for
love
you.
it. And also we say the same thing, and we say in our house is the safe place, which is normal for
Yes.
parents to say, but we say, and then also challenges. If you have questions, challenges, uncertainties, we want this place to be we want to hear this.
Yeah, judgment
Come to
free.
us. Yeah. Come to us. It's okay. Because the 5 people I'm around are my husband, my stepson, Josh, my stepdaughter, though I call them my son and daughter. They call me mom. So my baby, Stevie,
Yeah.
and my dog. So those are the 5 people I've been
Wow.
around. How
So
about you? Who are your 5?
No, it's so interesting.
Right?
I mean, I have so many peers and people being at the agency, which is a pretty big brokerage in Los Angeles, and there's so many people that I work with that I respect, and they're my peers. But as far as like just my circle,
Can I drink you a sip of coffee?
yes, of course.
Okay.
You can do anything you want. There's no rules.
I didn't
here.
know if I'd be gulping.
It's okay if you are. It's fine. But yeah, there were so many people that say, oh, your circle is so small. But I'm like, it's small for a reason, because you start to see that people that you thought really had your back, really have their own sort of jealousy, weird issues. There's been so many times I've tried to add to my team, and then it's sort of like I start to see, you don't have the same work ethic as me. You don't treat people the same way. I mean, I even say we haven't done open houses for so long, and for a long time I didn't do that many of them because I always had, buyer's agent. But I do love doing open houses because I love meeting new people. I want to hear from them. I want to hear their stories. I want to get to know like how people are making it through life, or what put a smile on their face. Like I'm really interested in human beings. And so it's funny, I was trying to explain like, okay, you can go to one open house and you can just have this super bitchy agent, And then for some reason you're like, I don't know, this house just doesn't feel right.
Right.
But then like, I'm like, hi, how are you? I'm just so
Right.
happy. And I'm not saying like, oh, I come with the house, but I just feel like the minute you walk in, that first impression is so important.
It is.
With everything. And that's why I think I'll be in the grocery store and someone I don't even know, I'll start a conversation because I'm trying to be, get out of my shell a little bit. And I'll be like, wow, I didn't know that, grapefruit were in season. Just someone's behind me with their basket. And she's like, yeah, I think, all the melons are coming back. And then she's like, yeah, she's like, my husband's divorcing me. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
I don't know where that, but people feel comfortable
Yes.
telling me very private things. I'm not quite sure why. There's just something about me that I'm sort of just, there's this energy around me. I
Yes,
think
there
this
is.
safe energy that people feel like they can confide in me.
Yeah.
So my circle is definitely my husband and my 2 kids. I have a few other select friends that I kind of let in, but other than that, I'm not that person that needs to be surrounded by like 30 girlfriends
Right.
taking a photo for Instagram when I know that basically 28 of them go home and are just talking shit about me anyways.
Yeah.
So I posted something the other day. I'm like, I go, sometimes people talk about you because they have lost the privilege to talk to you.
Sure. Or they don't know what else to talk about, because we know that intelligent people talk about things and topics, and then
Right.
unintelligent talk about
Other people.
Other people.
Yeah,
So maybe they've
definitely.
just lost some stuff to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. So
And
it's
you're just
interesting.
you're that awesome.
Oh my
There,
gosh,
you
you're
know.
so sweet.
I used to say that all the time.
I'll tell my kids I'm awesome. It's interesting. I actually was an older mother. I hopefully will lose this term soon enough because more and more people are having kids. I was told at 22 I would not be able to have children because I had cancer, and the type of cancer I had, my mom was given a drug when she was pregnant,
wow.
which also caused infertility in me. So I really
I
moved.
did not know that existed.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm a DES baby.
Okay.
So I'm one of just thousands of babies. Not everyone got cancer, but I unfortunately did.
And you're okay.
I'm okay now. Yes,
good.
I'm great, and I've moved mountains to have these twins. But being an older, I got married at 36, 37. So had my kids got pregnant at 38.
Okay.
And then 39 is when I delivered.
Okay.
So
You're close.
I'm very
Yeah.
close. And I know it's funny because I worry that I guess sometimes, even though I'm super active and I work out, I mean, I'll go play soccer with my son, and after I make like 2-3 goals, I'm just like,
Your knees hurt.
right, my back. I'm thinking, oh my God. And I feel guilty, like, oh my gosh, is this bad? Am I somehow, I do play with them, but I don't know. But then I think there's going to be younger moms that they haven't lived a full life, and they're out there still trying to experience things for themselves, and then not necessarily neglecting, but just not really giving that undivided attention
Right.
that we maybe are able to give, because
Right.
we kind of got that out of our system.
I think
Do you
so.
think that bodes true?
I do, 100%. Yes. Though I think, look at what we're doing. I just started a business after 21 years in corporate America. You're now doing the podcast. So
Yes.
we still have goals. We still have ambitions. And I think that's
not dead.
Okay. Exactly. Right.
dead.
But no, I do. I think so, because we've done a lot, maybe extra travels that we may not do, global travels and experiencing those things, which I hope to still do. But yeah, I think so. I never thought I would have a baby at this age. And it was a big surprise. We had done IVF. So I met my husband in 2015 skydiving. And it was an unplanned skydiving.
Wait, was he like the person on your back, or?
Yes.
He was.
Oh, he was. Yes.
That is a really good. I always wondered if because that fear, that connection that you make instantly.
Oh my gosh. So I landed and I said, I was there speaking to a group of girls and talking what I talk. And one of the 3 C's of my business is connector. So we have a whole nother connection topic to talk about, you and I, because anyway, it's culture, connector, courageousness, because I believe in connection, and everything you're saying is, I've been talking about this my whole life, and here you are.
Yeah.
So I was speaking to this group of women, and I just talked about courageousness. And they said, okay, so these Navy SEALs are here, and now we're going to go skydiving. And I said, no. Let's talk. Let's talk about goal set. I came here to speak. I did, I'm not skydiving. So lo and behold, they said, but why wouldn't you? You just talked about courageousness. He's a Navy SEAL. I'm like, that's a good point. I pulled him aside. Long story short, went tandem skydiving, landed, and a camera came up to me. Friends of ours were running this program, very similar to what we do now, but with different aspects. And I said, I know that I'm supposed to say something intelligent about my experience and getting out of my comfort zone. But hold on, I go, I think I love you. And I looked to my husband, he goes, I'm single. And so then fast forward, he wrote me a letter and sent me skydive t-shirts and his business card. And it was like a month after that where he, came to Florida, and I ended up moving here that next summer, and then we got married.
That's amazing.
In 2017, yeah.
So he was a Navy SEAL. So was he a Navy SEAL prior to you guys meeting?
Oh, yes. He was 24 years active duty.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
And he must have some stories.
He's got great stories.
Does he share them with you, or does he keep that?
Both. Both. I uncover little pieces at a time, and it's really interesting. He has story time with our daughter, Stevie Faith. So if he puts her to bed, he has said, she loves my stories. And I said, if I heard that one, he goes, no, you've not heard that one. I said, well, you're not going to traumatize her. You're not telling her really bad stories, right? But
so I had this machine. Yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah.
No, he would never do that.
No. So I moved here. I had no idea he lived in Vegas. I was 38 years in Florida, and my whole thing was I'll never leave for someone who isn't as good or better than my family. I love my family. Wow. I love my network. I love my girlfriends.
What part of Florida do they live in?
Clearwater.
Okay.
Clearwater and Orlando.
I went to college in Orlando.
You did? Where?
I did. University of Central Florida.
Me too.
Really?
Yes, I graduated 99. I took one extra semester because I moved to Japan.
Graduate. I quit. I was a psych major, and I was just like, okay, I don't know why. I'm doing this to make everyone else happy. I don't want to be here. I quit, took on 3 jobs, and got on the 10 freeway. And
oh my gosh.
I didn't know anyone in California. I just knew I had to
so
go.
Are you from Florida?
I'm from Illinois.
Okay.
By then, my parents moved us to Florida when I started high school.
Okay.
So we were in Ocala, Florida.
Yeah.
And then I went to college in Orlando for a while,
gosh.
and then came to California, and the rest is history.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, we have a UCF
Florida girl.
connection.
I know.
I love it. Yeah, I was born and raised.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So the hot air out here it was pretty shocking, right?
Very shocking. I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
I got off the flight and was,
Although I don't miss taking a shower and then stepping out and feeling like, why did I just waste 20 minutes of my time in Florida?
And then our
makeup
and
your hair is like frizzy.
Right. Here you can sweat and you're like, oh, it's that tickle, and it's like, oh, you're sweating, but you don't feel it,
Right.
It's like, but long story short, my husband and I ended up moving here, and we inherited, I say, his kids because they were with his ex-wife from Virginia. So we got them 3 months before, and I was, at 40 years old, I thought, well, this is God's plan for me to raise and be mom to these kids, and that's awesome. I'll take it, right?
Yeah.
Living life with gratitude. He's given me these 2 beautiful children. They need me as mom, and then we did 2 years of IVF. And it was awful. Yep. It was so awful. Oh my gosh, the hormones and the drugs and everything.
Yep.
I mean, I threw chicken across the house, like.
I killed a snake with a broom. Like the head of the snake, it wasn't even a poisonous snake. The head of the snake was so flat, like flatter than a piece of like paper.
Because you smashed it.
I smashed it because hormonally, my dogs were barking at something, and my husband just thought, you've got problems. And I go, no, I have hormones. Yeah. I don't have problems. I literally all the injections, and then I look like someone threw me down a stair. The bruises were so bad. Did you do your injections yourself, or did your husband do them?
He started them, and then I started doing them. And then there was one time, one of my best girlfriends who lives here, Beverly, she had to give me my HCG in my butt.
Uh-huh.
So we've got great pictures. She's got like this, she's like, I can't mess this up. So she's marking me, and she's like, but yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We were going through it during our wedding.
Oh boy.
But no one knew.
Okay.
And I had to figure out a way to go get my injections in between. And I thought, well, I'm going to look like a diva, but I'm going to change dresses, which is the perfect excuse to go up. But I didn't have time to ice the area.
Oh, no.
Because I had to hurry and go back. And I will never remember the moment that I walked into the ballroom and I locked eyes with my husband, because he was the only one in that entire almost time stopped.
Yeah.
Because he just knew what I had sacrificed
to
go up.
Yeah. Well,
and do that injection. So it was crazy.
Yeah.
We actually had a lot of loss. I was getting pregnant, but my body, I didn't realize, was attacking the fetuses. So my body thought that I had cancer again. So it was
Wow.
basically going in
Because
and
it recognized it as
it just
foreign?
recognized a
Yeah.
foreign body. Something was happening, so it kind of went on high alert. But I went to this reproductive immunologist. I didn't know they existed. They study your blood.
Isn't it funny and crazy what you learn?
What
when you're
you learn.
All of a sudden, I'm like, wait a second. You ovulate from both sides?
Right.
It's like you're 17 learning it all.
Yes,
I have fallopian
exactly.
tubes for what?
I know. And you only have one egg a month?
Right,
Like, what the
right,
heck?
right.
I switched IVF doctors, which is a crazy story because I had two frozen embryos, and then I had two fresh, and I had to move myself the container with the frozen embryos. I don't know why I thought they would unthaw going from Pasadena to
gosh.
Encino. I was driving like a bat out of hell.
I would
Like,
imagine.
Get out of my way. I
Right.
mean, literally, I was like, I seat belted in the embryo.
yeah.
Like the ice with it was just, obviously they were not going to unthaw. But yeah, so we had a pretty bad loss at 14 weeks.
Oh,
I had
wow.
twins. And that's when, when you go that far along in a pregnancy, they have to do an autopsy because they want to see,
Really?
they want to see what happened. And normally it's going to be chromosomally. There was some, irregularity that caused them to not basically continue to grow. But in essence, there was nothing wrong with the babies, and so they said something's going on with you. And then of course here I am with my issues, like I'm broken, I'm screwed
yeah,
up, I'm messing this up, and I know you want to be a dad, but come to find out, again, my body was not putting up this protective barrier that it needed to do to protect the kids. And so I went through some pretty weird therapy. I mean, my doctor at the time was such a mad scientist. He had no hinges on his doors because he felt like when you heat the lab up to the certain temperature you need to, droplets of oil could potentially go through the air and land on the embryos.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he put me on human growth hormone. He did just a completely total regimen than what I had done before. And then I went on this IVIG therapy,
Okay.
which is maddening.
Okay.
Most people have never heard of it. It's
No.
when you inject tens of thousands of other people's white blood cells into your
wow.
body to trick your body into thinking it's someone else's body.
Okay.
And so it's a procedure that takes about I had to do it about 3 times. It takes about 6 hours to infuse into you can't go too fast because literally it'll make you go into cardiac arrest.
Oh my gosh.
So I had a special nurse ready to restart my heart with the EpiPen just in case. And it literally, I cried for 6 hours straight. It
my
was like
gosh.
pure hell going into my veins.
So because it's
It
thick.
burned
and- okay,
so
yeah,
badly. But I just, at that point, it's like when you want a baby and you've gone that far, I don't know, the pain is just, it doesn't matter.
It's insignificant.
It
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And then, of course, ended up with like an emergency cerclage at 23 weeks. And then I ruptured at 27 weeks.
Oh
I
my
stayed
gosh.
pregnant for 3 weeks in the high risk. And then my daughter's heart stopped.
Oh my gosh.
So they had to crash me. And I don't know, just the whole thing. So I always wonder, is it because I'm an older mom that I'm so really trying to inject so much love and life and honesty into my kids, or is it everything I went through to bring them into this
It's
world?
both, I
Yeah.
think. It's definitely both. But it's a lot. It's traumatic. I don't think, and I don't know about you, but I feel like in life, I just do, right? I do things. And
Right.
And now I'm trying to put some meaning behind it. So I'm reading this book, The Art of Impossible. And there's a lot of neuroscience that the author, Stephen Kotler, he talks about the neuroscience behind everything. So he's actually studied people like my husband, Navy SEAL CEOs, people like that. Why do they do? Back to a question you asked earlier, why do people do? So I've kind of I just do in life. I just take the step forward and I just try to figure it out, with grit and some
Right.
grace in there.
So does he think we're born with it? Is that
I think he thinks there's an element of it. Yeah.
that can basically, I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, I'm sure even if you're not born with it, there's a way to turn that on.
I think
right?
I think so, yeah. Or else then, why do we have leadership development courses and trainings? And
Right.
I think there are people who think you can't teach leadership. I think you absolutely can.
Oh, you absolutely
Yeah, I think so. But I do think there are people who have an X factor. It's kind of goes back to the energy, the people who have the energy in the room. I think you have that or you don't,
Sure.
you have the people you want to be around. But in terms of, motherhood and what we go through. I don't think anyone could prepare you.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Right. You read every single book and then they come home and you're just like,
I
don't know.
I've had dogs my whole life. So I said to
Yes.
my husband, okay, so what does this look like? Let's talk about, we walk in the house. What's the first thing we do? And he gave me the best advice of anyone. He was like, it's going to be just listen to her. She's going to talk to you. You talk to her. They're very easy. If they're hungry,
They'll
if they-
tell you.
whatever. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's very much how our daughter is. She's very easy, but nobody prepared. So,
No.
I mean, the childbirth is unreal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was crazy. I know for me, they were going to let me try natural childbirth because baby A, which was my daughter, was head down. She was presenting
Okay.
head down. And then I specifically actually found a doctor that would let me try to have more of a natural childbirth. But when her heart stopped, that all went out the
Yeah,
window.
all bets are off.
And it was, they were trying, it was like all the emergency, like the surgery rooms, one had been reserved for us. And then someone snuck in and took it. I was just like, who does that? Do you know what I mean? Like, really? That happens in hospitals? This isn't like a nightclub.
Right.
This isn't like Dre's or whatever it is.
Right.
Like, you're going to like
Dre's.
pay off the, you know what I mean?
Right.
The
VIP guy.
VIP guy to get in, to get my room because
Right.
my kid's dying.
Right.
I mean, I
Unreal.
had 2 groups ready to whisk them to the NICU because they
Wow.
were so early. But yeah, it wasn't it wasn't like that. Oh my God! Oh, and it cries and put the baby. It
Yeah.
was nothing like that. What you would see in a
Right.
movie. And I was in the industry for 30 years, so I mean, I know it's fake, but I still had some weird obsession that that's how it was going to be.
You're fit and you're just going to push and
Yes.
the babies are going to come out. Yeah.
Oh, no. They actually, when they put the epidural, they had to because they had to cut me open. They start moving the table. I'd never seen this before. And I kept feeling the scalpel.
Oh my
Can you feel it? Can you
gosh.
feel it? I was like, I don't care. I was screaming, just cut me open.
Right.
I don't care.
Oh my gosh.
Right? And the anesthesia, he's like, don't worry, when this is done, I'm going to give you a nice glass of wine. I'm like, I don't care about your effing glass. Just don't, please save my,
Please,
please
yes.
don't let her die. I just
Yeah.
kept crying, like, don't let her die.
Wow.
And when she came out, she didn't cry.
Wow.
And that was tough.
Oh yeah, I bet.
That was really tough. And they had to restart her heart 3 times.
Oh my gosh. And do they do that right there? Or do they take
They
her
did it
away?
right there. They had
Okay.
to. Yeah. I didn't see it because then they're trying to get Levi. My son was stuck under my rib cage
Oh my
because I'm
gosh.
not a big kind of person.
Right.
He's just floating in his embryonic. He had no idea what was happening, and he cried.
He's like, I like the space.
Yeah.
She's gone.
He was really little, but he did cry. But yeah, it was a really tense situation. It wasn't that beautiful Hallmark moment that everyone sort of, has on Instagram with their
Right.
full face of makeup. I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like a hot mess.
I was too. I was on all 4s at one point.
Oh,
the
yeah.
poor lady behind me, and I was throwing up. I was
Oh
in
my
so much pain.
gosh, yeah.
But I actually asked for an epidural, and it didn't take. And they
Oh, it
tried
didn't.
2 more times. No. And it's interesting because there was a woman, maybe the day before, because I was induced. So I was there for a while.
Oh, gosh.
And my husband comes in, he goes, do you hear the screaming? I said, no. He goes, well, apparently that girl's epidural didn't work. And I thought, I didn't even know that was an option. I never had heard that before.
Oh, wow.
At all, that your
That it
it
wouldn't
was never
work.
something that crossed my mind, but
Yeah.
no, it didn't. So
No, after the fact, they put this little bag on you and they put it inside your sort of C-section where they cut you open, and it's supposed to be like pumping, numbing kind of stuff. That thing didn't work for me
Oh,
either.
boy.
Yeah. I always say, like, God bless someone that does a tummy tuck because you can't, that
No.
space in your body, there's not a single movement, sneeze, nothing you can do that does not affect that particular area, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I know it's funny because my husband had said, my wife used to be a swimwear model and I'm going to get a plastic surgeon in here to sew her up so she doesn't have a scar. And then he got so offended. He's like, you can't even see my scar because he so meticulously
Wow.
sewed me up to
Wow.
make sure. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know we've gotten completely off topic, but
that's all right.
But no, it's definitely interesting raising kids. I think, especially in this day and age, and everything that they're faced with that we weren't. As
my
kids, we had our
gosh.
own set, I think, of challenges. But even today, my kids are not on social media. They're 12. They just turned 12. I don't allow them to play video games with guns yet, because I just need them to understand the consequences of guns.
Well, and the separation between reality,
Yes.
right? I think a lot of children are, whatever's happening. And I think it's not just video games. I just think in life, I mean,
Right.
there's a difference. I mean, there's real stuff that happens. There are consequences
Yeah.
to your actions. Yeah, absolutely. And we do. It's funny because my husband actually works on Call of Duty.
Okay.
But our son is 14.
Okay. That's different.
Right. So,
Yeah.
and
I'm sure he's handled a real gun.
he has, and he's very mature and he understands, but we always are having that conversation.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think, gosh, children right now, and we have 18, 14, and then, 11
Wow.
months old.
I think I saw some special where they did this whole thing with kids, and they said, gun safety. They did the whole thing, and they showed the video, and then they go and they say, "Oh, go get some snacks," right? And they put a prop gun, looked just like a real gun, on the table. They had just sat through an hour of
Oh, gosh.
gun
Gun
safety
safety.
and what happens and the consequences and kids dying by accident by going off, and then it didn't take but like 60 seconds for one kid to pick that fake gun up. So it's like, I just think, oh my gosh,
I know.
it scares me so much. I mean, we have obviously, look, we live on a ranch now, and we have a gun safe, and I think that it's everyone's right to protect themselves from intruders or things that are happening. I don't take it to the store
Right,
or anything
no,
like
me
that, but yeah, it is. They are definitely living in a trying time of people like we're just so separated.
Yeah.
Like, how do we find, I know I even said part of the podcast for me, it was like, I remember telling my mom when I was probably about 3 or 4, I'm going to save the world, and at the time, she wasn't a very, she did the best she could, but there was really no support. And she was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I remember saying that's the stupidest thing. And I didn't understand what that meant, but I just thought there's got to be a way for good to just push out the
I
bad.
agree.
Yeah.
I keep saying it too.
And it doesn't I don't care what someone's religion is, and I don't care what anyone's skin color is, and I don't really care what someone's political beliefs are, but just be kind, right? Just be respectful and be kind.
Right.
And then we can all get along, because we need a 2-party, 3-party political system. We need that balance. Right?
Yeah.
It's not a dictatorship. I mean, we
Right.
need the balance of different ideas and different points of view when it comes to everything. Even for me, I tell my kids, we're going to learn world religion, because most wars start
It's important.
because of religion. I want you to see other people's point of view. It may not be yours,
Right.
but at least if you can understand and respect slightly why they believe the way they believe. Like, for instance, we just learned about South America, and we learned about the sun god Intu. And back then, can you imagine, all they knew was this bright sun came up and grew their crops, right? And gave them light. And why would they not think that was a god?
Right.
That's all they knew,
Right.
right? At that point, the Bible hadn't been discovered at that point. And so it's like, oh, you're so stupid for believing that. It's like, but that's all they knew. Right?
Absolutely.
So
No,
of
it's
course,
great you're doing that.
when introduced to other things, these people understood that there are other gods out there, and they shouldn't be sacrificing their kids
Yeah.
and stuff to the god,
100
to the sun god.
That
Yeah.
is not, let's not do that.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think also, and I've heard this other places, but I've been saying this for a long time, it's just get back to the basics. I think we've gotten so complicated. In corporate America, we always use KISS, keep it simple. I don't like the word stupid. We don't say that word.
We
but
don't say that word
no,
either,
we
yeah.
don't use it.
We don't
stupid,
say
shut
fat
up.
or
We
stupid.
we don't say shut up.
Right,
and,
right.
all of that. But just keep it simple. I think we really have just overcomplicated so many things. So it's a lot of what we're talking about in our home, but also in business.
Yeah.
Right? I agree with you. It's very simple, the way you treat people the way you want to be treated, or the way they want to be. I mean, just be kind and just listen a little bit more and calm down. Everyone just
Calm down. Bring the temperature down.
Yeah, just calm down.
Yeah, I was speaking to a lawyer the other day, and I just said to him, I go, is there any human left in there? Can you find that part? Because this is just the temperature is so raised with this, this particular transaction was happening, and it was nothing I had done or any.
Yeah.
It just, he was representing, these sellers, and he really just there was so much drama, just so much unnecessary kind of additives to this thing. And look, I love lots of colors and stuff, but like you said, if we can just get back to the primary colors, you know what I mean? Like, you know, just blue, red, white, you know, whatever it is.
Some simple stuff.
Yeah.
That's funny. We joke around because we have so much, you know, gray and beige and white in our house and the nursery. And we're like, she's not going to know any primary, you know. We need to introduce her to some bright red and some orange and some yellow, you know.
Oh, that's so
funny. If we get such muted. But so I'm really, you know, I try to focus on experiential learning. So going back to when you were saying the handgun was sitting in the middle after the snacks, because so much of what I've seen, you know, in corporate America, as we do, you know, we have training and you have all of these modules and you have all this stuff. But now, and not to, you know, just talk about the business, but getting people outside and actually applying. So we are skydiving and hiking and climbing and paddleboarding and, you know, doing these fun things, but all in the name of leadership and applying that back to, you know, obstacles and challenges, but also just taking it to the next level and shifting your mindset and getting you out of your comfort zone and recognizing and helping people uncover that they can do all of these things.
Yeah, that's so innate though. I mean, there's a place called Wolf Connection near our house, and my daughter is obsessed with wolves. And so we did a wolf study, and they actually make you hike with the pack for about 2.5 miles.
I love that.
Because by hiking with the pack, they develop a trust. You almost become part of the pack. And then when you stop and you sit down, depending on your energy, of course, because it's all energy, one went up and laid in my daughter's lap.
Wow.
Another one was like licking me in the face.
Wow.
I mean, these are really large animals. And so, like you said, I mean, that was a big reason for me to homeschool, was just making sure that whatever knowledge they get, they apply. We actually apply the knowledge. So you're teaching people how to basically become better at business, maybe take their business to the next level. And it's not just like 5 steps. It's like really applying that knowledge on just such a human level. Is that accurate?
It's human performance. Absolutely. And it's teams and it's teamwork and it's camaraderie. I mean, there's a reason why football is so popular, right? Because you've got teams, you have a goal, you know, you're high-fiving, and there's something to that. So no matter what type of experience we've given clients, at the end of the day, like, someone's usually frustrated. And I've even posted this. You may fall down, you may get wet. This isn't a yoga retreat. You know, that's fantastic. There's a place for that, but this isn't it. It's called grit, right, for a reason. But you will come out feeling empowered and motivated and, you know, more camaraderie with your team and hopefully, you know, better communication skills. And, you know, there's so many things. And we've seen, even if it's an hour, 3 days, 3 months, you know, if we do reviews and have people, you know, write about their experience, everybody has something positive to say about their experience that they've gone through.
That's amazing. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think we have forgotten that we're all in this together.
Absolutely.
We really are. And I mean, just to be able to lift one another up is important.
Right.
I mean, if we weren't meant to all be here, there would just be one.
Right.
There's a lot of us.
Yeah. And I think, you know, we were talking earlier about older moms and how we conquer this. And for me, it's one step at a time, right? Keep doing it. And a former boss, an amazing boss of mine, you know, gave me a big job back in the day. And I was going, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. He was just check one thing off at a time and keep moving on at any level, right? CEO level, professional level, whoever it is.
Otherwise, you just get overwhelmed.
Or you're overwhelmed.
And then you're just like, I can't do this.
Right.
It's like, but if you see the one box, you're like, I can do that.
Correct.
And then the next one, I can do that. But when you
So it's the same with people for us, right? You're going to be impacting one life after the next by your podcast. And then hopefully that person passes it on. And again, it sounds very simple and idealistic, but it's also realistic, right? It's also realistic that we can impact one person's life and then that can just continue.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, when I decided, you know, I want to do this, I've had so much experience that I've had to kind of get myself out of, and sometimes really alone. I just had to have the mental fortitude to just literally, you know, stop sleeping in the closet because of something that had happened to me, you know, and just the abuse, like even just finally being able, when I was probably about 10, to get out from underneath the bed waiting to get beat and to go screaming through the house and tell my dad to stop beating my mother. It took just, you know what I mean? There was no book. It's just mental fortitude. And then just, you know, just, I guess, I don't know, hoping with this podcast that maybe someone will hear this. I went on the TV show The Doctors. I hadn't talked a lot about my cancer. I don't know why. I just didn't. I was an actress and I was producing and singing. I was wrestling for the WWE. So I didn't want to say, not to say I didn't want to be the poster child for cancer. I just didn't want people to think you're using the cancer to go on Entertainment Tonight.
It's your platform.
It's my platform,
right?
because that's not what it was about for me. I mean, it was really difficult for me. I mean, I would take a taxi to go get my chemo by myself.
Wow.
I didn't know anyone. I had just moved to California when this happened, and I had to have emergency surgery, and I just didn't have anyone. I mean, I made friends with a really great taxi guy, and if I got sick on the way home, he knew where to stop. But yeah, I mean, just really figuring out, like, how am I going to help people? And so when I went on The Doctors, I was able to kind of finally talk about it in a way with, an OBGYN that was on the show that was able to say, look, you can't put off getting checked. No one likes going really to the doctor. Right. But it's something that we kind of have to do. And so, we all are like, okay, great, we're going to go get our teeth cleaned or we're going to go to the doctor. But people forget about their mental health.
Oh, yeah. Well, and have you seen, I feel like the topic in the last month or two, we've seen more and more about people talking about mental health and being okay with it and sort of not redefining.
It's not so cliche.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does that make you feel?
I mean, I think that for so long, I just held on to this thing that I wanted everyone just to think that I was fine. That strength. I needed people to see me as, this super strong, independent woman that has it all together. I think we all kind of want that. And then I finally was like, all right, I think it's time to basically, just pull back the curtain and say, it's been a struggle.
It's been tough, yeah.
The days when I just couldn't even get off the bathroom floor. I was so sick from chemo, and then had to try to go to an audition because I still had to make my rent. So it's like, as much as people think I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, I was not. We were very poor when I was a kid. We had money, then we'd be poor. There's a time we lived in, a mobile home, and there's no shame in that. I just think for me, it's like, it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter what your childhood was like. If you want something in life, there are people that are out there. There are books that you can read. You just have to start with that self-belief that, you're the one putting limitations on yourself.
Right.
And there's really nothing that you can't accomplish.
Absolutely.
So mental health, I think, is really, really important because, oh my gosh, the depression, the PTSD that I've sort of gone through is, I just didn't realize how much it was affecting me. And so now I'm like, no, I'm going to talk about this.
Good.
Because people see me as a certain way and they're like, oh, I had no idea that she actually has dealt with it. But look how far she's come.
Sure. Yeah. And I think with other females then, you'll help with us because we do. Strong A-type, go get 'em females want to put on that strong persona.
That varnish.
Because we have to.
Right.
Sometimes too. So I think that's great.
Yeah, it's funny. I had an ex-boyfriend at one point. I had a flat tire, and it's not that I can't change a flat tire. I used to race motorcycles.
Right.
I'm a pretty dirty, gritty girl. But I couldn't get to, it was a Mercedes, and it was a lease. I couldn't get to my jack. I couldn't get to the jack, and so I had to call, AAA to come and help me, or I called Mercedes, whatever it was. And I just felt like I was not in a safe place, and people were honking at me, and I just come from an audition, so I probably had some like Daisy Dukes or something ridiculous on that I should not have had on. But I just come from an audition that they asked me to dress like this. And so I had called, and then I remember his response was, well, I have a red carpet event, to go to. And I thought, okay, so you're going to leave me on the side of the road. It's getting dark. They're not here yet. And it really made me mad. But then, when we got into this big argument, I really got slapped in the face with the reality, which was, he said, but you make sure it's known that you don't need anyone.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So here I was saying, like, no, I don't need you. I don't need you. Like, I'm that person because I learned that from my dad. Like, I'll cut you out of my life in a hot second. I'm like, done. That's not necessarily a healthy thing. I mean, obviously there are some people that need to go out of your life because they're just really unhealthy people. But it was like, wow, what a realization that you got what you asked for,
Right.
woman.
Right. No wonder why no one's helping you.
Exactly.
Right. You keep
because
telling
you're just
everyone
like, I don't need you.
Right.
I can
Right.
do this on my own.
So now on a plane, are you the person that if a gentleman says, may I put your bag up? Do you say absolutely? Or do you still?
Oh, yeah. That's a tough one. No, if someone asks, I definitely, would. I wouldn't necessarily ask someone.
Right.
I would rather struggle and let it hit me in the head.
too.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But if someone asks, yes, I probably will.
Then I let them. Yeah.
Let them do that.
And I tell my daughter the same, it's okay, opening doors,
Yes.
all of these things, get back to the basics. But I
Right.
tell her, if you're on a plane and someone asks you, don't ask yes. You don't have to ask. But if someone asks, let them.
Yeah, and it's not even, for me, it's not even male, female. It's just if someone wants to do something that's kind, I mean, that changes the trajectory of my day.
Yeah.
Even someone holding a door open for me
Sure.
out here in Vegas, I was just like, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I know. I realized when I flew with my daughter for the first time, my grandmother lived to 104 years old.
Oh,
I know.
my gosh.
She was amazing. So she passed in February, and I flew her for the first time. So my husband flew with me, but then he had to come back, and I flew back by myself. Talk about amazing people. I mean, I had people that were like, we're grandparents, we'll take her if we have to. I mean, people were helping me break down. I took the Bob stroller on the, I know. I've
gosh.
learned a lot.
Okay. Yes, we all do.
Right.
Yes.
And it's, you need both hands to
Yes.
flip it. And I mean, it's amazing, but just amazing people. Amazing
Wow.
people. I wish I could have taken pictures with all these people and done a little story or something.
Yeah.
Right. Back to connections and
How
why.
amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, business for me is all about connections. I mean, people
Absolutely.
talk about, oh, you need to cold call, you need to do this. I don't do any of that. I literally just want to make wonderful, true connections, human connections through my experience and my travels, because those will last the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the people that not only want me to help them today, but they're going to have me help their children and their grandchildren.
Yeah.
Should I still kind of be, in this path? But I'll give you a little tip, not that you need it for any moms that are listening out here. I found this really amazing way when you get kids that become toddlers and you're going to be on an airplane. What I do is I kind of plan every 20 minutes.
Okay.
And so they have a backpack that they've never seen before.
Oh,
And
fun.
they don't get to open it until
Yeah.
they're actually on the airplane. And so inside of it, I have like snacks wrapped in like cute little packages with special little ribbon. And then I have presents that are just toys
cute.
that they can open. So that way their time is pretty much, you know what I mean? The whole entire flight, they're pretty much
They're busy.
good to go.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's my little secret,
I love it. I'm taking that one.
little secret backpack.
Yeah, because I had her, she was so young, she's 11 months. So we planned it where my biggest thing was I don't want her ears to get clogged.
Oh gosh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I kept her tired enough so that it was quick bottle and then she slept. And she's a really good traveler.
Oh wow.
So, but I have the Monsters Inc. I do that. I allow her to watch
Yes.
something to distract her. But yeah, she's really good. But that's a great tip.
Yeah, I mean,
as we
as they get
continue.
older, I
Yeah.
mean, they can definitely watch, but like kids' movies are only like an hour.
yeah.
It's not like a 3 hour.
Right, I know.
movie. So then just like if you're going some places to like, West Coast to East Coast, that's kind of, you got to figure out. I mean, even these little like puzzles where they can find the pictures and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's always just something brand new, because for them, it's just so exciting than packing something that they're
The same
used to.
thing, right?
Yeah.
So what's interesting, when I was reading about your background, is you and I have almost kind of opposite, flip-flopped professional backgrounds. So I went from
Really?
corporate America to owning my business and doing these crazy grip programs, but also, keynotes and leadership and all that. And then you went from wrestling.
Yes.
And now you're in, I wouldn't call it a corporate. Real estate is
Yes.
maybe not corporate America, but
Yes.
it's corporate. But what a cool, also another story, because a lot of what I like to talk about is the topic of transitions and transitioning. And I think that's really helpful for women.
Yes.
And you went from that life, fun life,
Yes.
now to real estate.
Which is, I mean, I think it all just sort of goes hand in hand. I mean, even, as an actress, you're dealing with a lot of the same sort of issues. You're dealing with sort of auditioning, right? When you go and meet a home seller, it's pretty much an audition. And you have to kind of put your best foot forward and be prepared. And then, there's some rejection that is going to come with it. And some elements of things that you can't necessarily control. So I think everything has prepared me. I always talk about people like, oh, why real estate? You don't need to work. You did so much in your other life. You have enough money. You don't need to do really anything. But for real estate means so much to me, only because I didn't have a safe, good home.
Yeah.
And then I know what it's like not to have money, and then how you feel so powerless. Like, money cannot cure everything.
Right.
But for me, if I can really teach someone and educate them how to build wealth through real estate, or even just how to figure out getting that first home, and what that makes them feel, that accomplishment, what it makes them feel to have, their kids come home to that, your safe home.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
what you call it. That's your safe places within those sort of four walls. So to me, I thought, this is important as much as be like, oh, it's like sales. I'm like, it's not sales to me. It goes so much further
Deeper,
beyond sales for me. The commission is like a nice icing on the cake for me, but I don't do it for the money. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people do things for money, but your why to me has to be a lot stronger than that paycheck,
Absolutely.
because it's,
But I'm sure that's why people are connected with you when you're doing this, because they feel that, right? I'm sure there are plenty of real estate agents who don't have the why necessarily. So
They
you've got
don't.
the positivity behind you
yeah, definitely.
and the story.
I mean, it can definitely go both ways. Sometimes I think I should just be in commercial real estate, because my heart gets so involved with my families, and it's like things are happening, they're out of my control, and they're upset. I'm like, oh my gosh, behind the scenes, I'm like crying, but I'm like, and then like I'm fighting with people, and they don't realize like, the things that are like the negotiations, kind of the back and forth
That's
and
happening.
stuff. Whereas commercial real estate is just like, do the numbers make sense? You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Like it either does or it doesn't. It's not about
A
anyone.
lot less emotion.
A lot less emotion.
Yeah.
But honestly, I mean, I talk about it all the time. I can't imagine not helping people. And I can't imagine, I just say, all right, well, I would rather I be in their lives and be going through this with them. If they're, have a death of a parent, whatever is happening, they need to sell, that particular
Yeah.
asset. I want to be that person, because like I know how I'm going to treat them. And I know not only am I going to get them top dollar, I just know I'm going to hold their hand throughout that process. And which is a little bit different from probably what, like you said, other people.
I would imagine. I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure I've ever heard of
Just sign
really
here.
right real estate agent talk that way, but it's so true.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You have to have passion.
And also the positive side of it. I mean, yes, you have people who, who've lost their home or lost a family member, but to your point, people who are buying their first home,
so exciting.
or starting a new chapter or moving to a new area, you've
Right.
got the positives too.
Or I'm a senior real estate specialist.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had people that are like, I've fallen down the stairs twice. We cannot navigate these stairs anymore. And I think, oh my gosh, this is their life.
Yeah.
I have to sell their house and get them into a single story home. You know what I mean? That they're close to their grandchildren. And so I take it so, I know my husband's like, you take it so seriously. I'm like, I know, but this is someone's life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I guess, I don't know. It matters to me.
Yeah. And it should.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing.
Absolutely. Well, you are lovely. I'm so excited to
you.
check out your GRIT program and see what it's all about. I mean, look, women uplifting, anyone, especially other women, we just need so many more of you
We
running
do.
around.
Well, sorry, not we do. Yes. I didn't mean,
Yes.
I cut you off before I heard
No,
you
it's
say
okay.
me. We need more women in general. So, but thank you for saying that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think, I was at a women's conference real quick. I know we're wrapping up, but a woman in the group said, what do we do? How do we address women who don't support us and who aren't there? And our chief diversity officer at the time has said, just let them be. There are so many other women who are
Yeah.
optimistic and who will rally behind you and who will lift you up. We don't have to be mean, right? We just let them go and find your tribe and find the people who will, because I'm willing to bet everyone in your life, you've cut out the people who probably don't, and you surround yourself with the people who are lights. So
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to hopefully have you part of my tribe.
I would love to be
Going
yes,
forward.
and you too. I'm so excited to
Yeah.
meet you.
Yeah, we'll
and
definitely
be with you.
keep in touch and have a safe. I know you're going to be traveling soon, so
I am. Hopefully to Cairo. So we'll see.
that's amazing.
I know.
That's
It's
the
a
next
big
bucket list
opportunity.
for me with my kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're
Or
learning
come
about
with us.
When are you going?
September, we think.
Don't tempt me.
I'm telling you. If I get the contract, if I get the deal, we're going in September.
You will get the deal. I'm
you.
manifesting.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
putting
you.
it
Put
out
it
there
out
right
there.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so very much.
Thanks, Amy.
and hope to connect again soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you.